Anne's beautiful mink coat transformed into a throw and a pillow. The mink coat was in excellent condition. Here's the front, the inside of the lining, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's very intricate and very detailed. The embroideries are really very pretty. Had 6 unique buttons on each lapel. And here's the back of the coat. And here I'm just removing the labels off the lining. There was a hole in the middle of the jacket. That's where the belt went into the coat. Those spots are going to have to be repaired. Because I'm going to be using the lining for the final project, and because of the uniqueness of the embroideries, I'm going to have to pay special attention to maximizing the amount of the embroideries that I can use. On the lower end, the bottom piece, there are only 2 rows of embroidery, but I'm going to be able to use a lot of the other parts of the embroidery because one of the scarves also had the embroidery on it as well. So I'm going to be able to use that as well as some of the parts from the sleeves. And I'm also going to be highlighting the monogram. I'm going to have a second video detailing how I'm going to tackle this backing. Here I'm just removing the lining from the sleeves. When this coat was brought to the furrier, it was full of sawdust, but this sawdust was a very fine powdered sawdust, and it was just everywhere, and it was coming out of the smallest little spots on the coat. If there was a tiny little crevice, it came out of there. And you could probably see just a little bit of the sawdust. Here I'm working on the collar area. I'm going to be taking that apart. Lots of strings in this area. It was very well made on the inside. The tacking stitches for the batting to be held in place was numerous, so I did spend a lot of time trying to remove all the strings. Because this fur has such a big flare, it's really very narrow at the top and flares out quite wide. Instead of using the armholes as my guide to make the throw, I'm going to be making strips so it is straighter and it will lay flatter, because now the flare just goes way out. I brought this downstairs so you could see how much it actually flared out. So instead of doing building from the armholes out, I had to make the strips. And I have another video on how I do the strips for coats that do not lie straight. Throughout the coat there were small areas where I did have to stitch, especially where the buttonholes were, where the belt inserted into the fur coat had to be repaired. And here's a picture of the lining. This is the pillow. The customer also wanted a 16 by 16 pillow, and here I'm just stretching it out. Put a light face interfacing on the inside, and that's what it looked like when it was fully stuffed, and it really is very cute. That's the backing. So we're back downstairs. Here are the strips, and I laid them out to see which would be the best configuration, and you can see the difference with the lighting. It's crazy how dark it could appear and how light. Here is where I stretch it out to make sure that it lies nice and flat, and I added on the edges. So it measured out 50 by 47 inches with the border. Then I started to work on the lining, and like I said earlier, there were only 2 lines down at the bottom, so I had to makeshift. So there is going to be a different video on that. Here it is, all laid out, turned, stitched in place, hand stitched, and here I highlighted the monogram area, and that's what the completed quilt looked like. It's very pretty. It draped very, very well. And here is another angle, or actually lighting with the pillow and the backing. Come visit us at dinahsquilts.com.